Right, here's Unit 8 on statistics. And we're talking about lesson number 3 on dot plots and frequency tables. Your objective is to be able to use dot plots to display numerical data and use frequency tables to analyze data and to make dot plots. And I don't have an essential question for you for this lesson. And we're going to look more into dot plots. We did discuss them a little bit in yesterday's lesson with data distribution. And a dot plot is a visual display of the data, and it uses a number line. And you can see here that I have one that happens to be vertical, and the other two are horizontal. And each dot represents each data point in that dot plot. We're going to pretend that we're in class and that you went around and you asked everyone how many screens they had in their home, meaning TVs, iPads, phones, so things that had screens. And you collected that data. And as you were collecting that data, you were writing down tally marks next to the number of screens they said they had in their home. Okay? And with the magic of technology, wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. Boo! You collected that data. And once you do the tally marks, you calculate the frequency by just adding them up, counting them. Okay. Now that we have our frequency data, we can take this data and make it into a visual display. And we're going to do that using a dot plot. The number of screens represents my number line. So I'm going to put 0 through 10 across the bottom of my number line here. And then what I'm going to do is count, or I don't have to count because I already counted. I'm going to take that number and represent it with dots so that it looks like that. So you can see that 3 people have 0 screens. 3 people have 1 screen. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dots, which represents the 7 in my frequency. People have 2 screens. Sorry, it's kind of hard to write with my finger on the mouse. And that's basically how you take your frequency table and turn it into a dot plot. Now we're going to take our dot plot and answer questions, kind of like what we did in lesson 2, but a little bit more detailed. The Ecological Society sampled the green iguana population and made note of the lengths of each iguana sampled. And then they made this lovely little visual data display of a dot plot. And it says here, how many iguanas measured greater than 15? So I'm not including 50, I'm saying greater than 15. So that would be 16 and on. And I can easily count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What is the most common length? So when I'm looking at most common, I'm looking for the one that is the highest. And you can see here that I have 16 have 3 and 14 have 3. So I actually have 2, 14 and 16, and that's represented by inches. How many iguanas measure between 14 and 18 inches long? So again, I'm not including 14 and 18. So I'm looking at between 14 and 18, and I can see that that is 7. frequency tables are a great way to collect and organize data. Frequency tables are a simple way that give you that display of how often something occurs, so that frequency. Number 3, the quiz grades below represent the students in Mr. Avery's history class. And we're going to use this data to create a frequency chart. So I can see that my test grades range with the smallest number being 70, right? And then the largest number in my data being 95. And they're in intervals of 5. So I can go ahead and list those out: 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, and 95. Now I can go ahead and put tally marks for each grade. And you might think, oh, well, that's not that small. I can just easily count them. But think about me when I have over 120 students and I'm looking at a bunch of test grades. Tally marks make a lot of sense to just do that and then add them up. So we're going to go ahead, and one way I like to do it is as I'm making my tally mark, so like I would do 85 and put my tally mark, 75 and put my tally mark, because then crossing it out, I don't accidentally drop a number or I don't accidentally add it in twice, which is a very easy and common mistake. I can't tell you how many times in my math career as a student I did that. So it just kind of just take your time to cross them out as you make your tally marks. It will lessen your chances of making a mistake. So there's my tally marks. And then I can easily see that I have 3 at 70, 2 at 75, 1 at 80, 3 at 85. I have 0 that got a 90 on their test, and I got 1 that had a 95. So I can easily get that information on the frequencies of test scores. Now what I'd like you to do is pause, do number 4 on your own, and then come back and let's see how you did. Welcome back. The amount below represents the number of dollars spent on a birthday present. So we're going to go ahead and calculate those. I have 15 is my lowest and 30 is my highest. And again, they're in intervals of 5. So I'm going to go ahead and write that: 15, 20, 25, and 30. I'm going to go ahead and do my tally marks, and hopefully you got the same thing I got. If you got something different, go back and recheck to make sure you counted them correctly, and then add up your tally marks and you have your frequency. Nice, simple, and easy. Yay! The end of lesson 3 on dot plots and frequency tables. If you have a question regarding this video, or as you're working through Khan Academy and IXL practice, please post your question in the Google Classroom Lesson 3 discussion section. Make sure you follow up with your exit ticket before moving on to Lesson 4, and there are 2 of them, A and B.